Welcome to the day's game where we've taken the upmost corner, not from any choice, but because we're the biggest noob in the lobby. We've got a pretty high OS team. I'm excited to show you this game because it's going to show what pressure is all about and when to macro and when to pressure. In this game, I'm going to tell you, there's not a lot of macro that can be done. It's just hell. But it's got a fairly smooth start of the game. I've got my obligatory 3 blitzers out ready to respond to any chaos. I put them in a central location. Responding here to this attempted tick run by. We destroy 1 tick. How many would have you killed with incisors just then? They like all would have died. Blitzers, man, they're so bad. It feels bad. I feel like a grunt has costs 1/3 the amount, goes slightly slower. It goes maybe a fair deal slower, but has pretty much the same stats as this and can actually shoot things. They just do not feel like quality units. It breaks open to be a pretty standard game with no dramas. Just Q-Tex was threatening us there and was pushed back. Been pretty effective with the rockets straight up. See, Crafting Spark has made the critical error of just building blitzers. And I pushed forward with my blitzers just for a little bit of hassle in the Rocketeers here. Surprised by the Blossom Commander who managed to take down one. We can hit back with a Janus shot though. We'll pay with it via another Whistler. Definitely the experienced part of our team is stacked here on the right. We see Yellow, the Cap Man, single-handedly taking down these units with the Commander laser. Not sure why, I guess to reclaim it. Our defense is getting pressed from afar. Purple and blue are working quite well together. Now, one thing about being in this position, I'm not able to bring the whole heap of units like I usually can. Blossom takes another hit. So it's fairly slow and I'm limited to what I can do against these Rocketeers without big numbers on Crafting side. And Crafting's got just as many as I've got. Probably that overproduction of Blitz is really not helping at the current time. We see some pins starting to get a breakthrough here with the Janus Whistler combo. Surprise, surprise, being used. Responded to with a whole lot of blitzers, holy crap. You need like 20 of them, to push this back. Let's see how the blitzers go. There's enough of them to do some damage. The commander here is going to survive though. As always, disappointing. 4%. Oh man. Orange State, 50% damage efficiency with the blitzers. We're here, guerrilla warfare, against just a godly amount of rocket bots, almost 20. Just a little bit too much for us. At this time, Crafting Spark, for whatever reason without telling me, decides to abandon the front, deciding I'm more competent enough against 2 of the top team players to basically come through and hit this hotspot. I have a feeling maybe Crafting's on Discord or something with these guys, because it does seem very unusual just for this to happen. My units were getting beaten down. And I'm trying to snipe what I can, but this is just mission impossible. Have to recognise it and pull back. Crafting Spark has left their comm and commander. Just AFK here for the moment as they're controlling over here, pushing all this back. It's a nice bait and switch. We'll see if it's going to be worth it. Crafting Spark with their last blitz sacrifice it on the commander laser, really allowing this lane to get a little bit of momentum. But of course, we're just sort of trading one for the other as we see this Dragon's Claw get beat up. The commander is still standing there, worryingly. But at least this Sneaky Pete is getting built, so there's some possibility this is not an AFK. Back at home, the scaling up's going pretty well. We bought our T2, I believe, and we're scaling with a bit of a T1 economy, as best as I can. Blossomed, almost taken out. At this current time, I pull back. I don't understand what's happened to all these units. I didn't realise they were over here, right? At least Air's caring because they're in Rainbow. But we do see some defences here, to be fair, but it's not enough. I pull away just to make it obvious how clear this is. But also because Canyon was actually under a little bit of pressure and I thought there might be an attack there. So we see this run by come through at this time. I can say all the comments in the world, but until the enemy does a run by or some sort of attack, it's not going to be taken seriously. Crafting starts to actually take things down rather quickly. ambush them from the jammer. We are unfortunately going to see these pawns sneak through, because there really wasn't a line for there to speak of. So I think crafting stopped their mad diversion over in the canyon. Though it has allowed red to temporarily break through to this position here. So it's not been without its benefit. Blue fortunately just did not press fast enough. I feel like they could have ended the game right there because of that strange play. So I'm getting beaten up by this artillery at the moment. Recognising the threat for what it is, we're going to pull right back. Crafting Spark again abandoning his own lane to come over here. Must be on Discord, they must be saying, hey, come over and push with me. Crafting's just doing it without disregard for the front. This is the confusing thing about OS, right? He's a 25 OS. Like, you think this sort of play would lose you a lot of games. Like, on average. We're pushing through, trying to flank this artillery force. We managed to at least take down one Tita artillery, but we're not dealing with enough forces here. We are the canyon corner. We're going to be limited for a little while on what we can deploy to the front. Attempted run by. Just a godly amount of troops at this stage. I've said my piece, I've sent my warnings, and now we're going to get crumpled by the looks of it. Very lucky shot for the ambassadors. Done more than would be expected. Ambassadors can do that. I am suitably impressed by the ambassadors being produced at this time to defend the front line. So again, this run by. There's crazy stuff. Pawns all the way over here. Not doing too much damage, all pretty superficial. Hopefully everyone's getting the message just how stuffed this is. It's certainly raising my blood pressure a little bit. Blitzers here are coming in to at least handle this T3 artillery fairly quickly. But of course they don't have the DPS to actually end it at all. We do push it back. I do feel like it was a feeble push. I feel like on the back end these guys were not giving everything. We certainly see that with Blue at the moment, running at about 100 metal a second economy, doing plenty of scaling in the background. Blossomed is being very offensive though from the opposing corner. My favourite staple at the moment as well are Bulls and Mausers. Very useful combination. Able to take a few hits as well. These Bulls are just doing a phenomenal job, although they are now getting caught up on this rock. We see them getting ambushed by yours truly. Coming down, trying to get them on the rock, but I get stuck on the rock. We can see some counterfire now, particularly from this rattlesnake. Just hitting us really hard. Never go over this rock as vehicles, guys. This is what happens. It's an absolute killing field. A horrendous amount of casualties, actually. So one thing I'm trying to do early on is make sure the economy is pretty healthy. We've got plenty of windmills, about 70. We're at the 16-minute mark, just about fixed up all the T2 mexes. Cutex doing the run-by with ticks. Just about takes down this T2 constructor from crafting. Very close. It took down the mechs in the end, but that was of no concern because I didn't see this mechs lasting too long the way the game's been going. Joe here is going to get taken down by the Bulls. Excellent work from Blossomed. Doing some really solid plays here in T2. We're only just getting up T2 now because of the pressure and the stress of holding that front. Also, we happen to have very bad wind at about 2.4. I wanted to just see what Red was doing hab gear. Certainly we can see why that OS 35 is true. Being very effective against two players. The Bulls here are able to skirmish effectively, especially out of the range of other T1s. It's an interesting combo then with the Jaguar. I guess it is fast and more responsive. But I would have wondered if Mausers would have been a better selection here, particularly now we see with this big tank push. Hab gear is just going to come down and degun professionally. Gets away with murder. Really is the issue with the tank force, it is vulnerable to a lone commander. Otherwise T1 tanks would be the best unit. At the current time we are running an aggressive little push here. Unfortunately Cutex is going to be able to take us out by the looks of it. No! We get away from it. Oh no, but takes down the bulls. Ah, shit. Took advantage of a little bit of a free front line, although unfortunately the bulls from Blossomed do wipe us out. Weapons overmatched times a million compared to my little T1 force. At this current time, we've been a little bit poor because we've been building all these defences here. I've had no faith in crafting after before. Even though now I can see the replay, I can see what crafting was doing. At the time, I just thought they were just a horrible player. Couldn't make sense of it. I think crafting is actually quite a good player. We can see building these advanced metal extractors, even a contested front line, just always being greedy. Sign of a good player. I think our team's getting a bit of a break here. We see a lot of damage done to the opposing canyon. A big attack from the anti-canyon, the southern anti-canyon, light blue, who has a reasonable 140 metal a second economy. We're belatedly in the T2 game with a few Mausers. We're going to back this up and support Canyon at the current time because the attack is looking really scary. Whereas crafting actually looks to have some defences up this time, so should last for a push. Though we're trying to be up here, right? The game does change and we need to support the Canyon, particularly as we start getting into late T2. And we can see a lot of Starlights arriving at the 21-minute mark. Also backed up with some ambassadors, just a very difficult force to skirmish with. Our Canyon commander bravely comes down to D-guard, but will blow up just before unfortunately taking down this last ambassador. Helping us survive another day. Tremor here, just trying to saturate this area. We're having an issue even taking down the sudden influx of T1. I'm coming in to try and support with my commander. This is looking very dire indeed. I run down at this time to conduct an attack against this pesky Starlight. We can see some defense in depth just stop us from dismantling this one, unfortunately. This one Starlight just being very resistant to attack. Unfortunately staying alive on 9% health. Walking into the Tremis, surely it should die. Surely, surely, surely. We see 3, we see 0%. Sitting there on 20 hit points, finally gets taken out. If you can think of them as mobile death platforms and keep them far apart, Starlights are weirdly tanky. Got a very good spread here. A nightmare situation for us. So we're pushing forward again with Jaguars just to try and get past the chaff and get to some of these Starlights at least. There's just too many. It's too many. It's critical mass of 7 Starlights here. Fortunately, air is going to help us. We see one pawn come through, breach our defences. Things are looking very bad indeed. Funnily enough, Blossom puts up a resign at this time. I'm not too sure why. So finally, we see this attack from the enemy air. Taking down the Wasps very easily. But we also see the Wasps here from the southern team get taken down by our air. So very interesting. Our air at the moment has the fighter disadvantage. Probably from producing all those Wasps. But thank God, because it's do or die. We see Resurrected Ashes purple. That's been able to kill this death line of Starlights. But unfortunately, weakness was detected, and we see this really big push now. I don't know if these grunts will be enough, because we have some Jaguars. We have plenty of T3. Blue does push forward with a Razorback. One Razorback I don't think is going to cut it. Another Razorback comes. It's just this stream of units where we've barely got the advantage. See all these units coming into this side and from the opposing team as well. That's their main offensive effort. I've now brought Starlights to the table in some sort of number. We've got some defences quickly set up, just some guards from my commander. Crafting has come to hit. Unfortunately, we do see these Vanguards manage to get the high ground here. Bit too hot for even crafting with these Starlights around. Unfortunately, this is not looking good for us. When the Vanguards are able to push forward so much, see they can pretty much just about shoot into Canyon's base here. So they've got the range advantage now, and our Starlights can't stay here too long. Got this push with a couple of Marauders onto the Starlights who are trading really well. I think these Starlights here, they're actually crafting. Got them a little bit close together, but it'll do. So the Anti-Canyon's sitting on more economy than both the Canyon players, I believe. Just because we've never had a chance to really have the pressure taken off us. I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time scaling, definitely, and just wasn't on the table. We can see now, Canyon and we're getting beat up lots, but we're not necessarily able to exact the damage, with Bankso only on 40% damage efficiency and me a little bit under 100%. Trying to use these Starlights to good effect to snipe the enemy Starlights. For whatever reason that missed, unfortunately. We're going to now see a counter beam from this Southern Starlight. Jeez, it's not looking good. We managed to win this sniping contest, but it's close stuff. Just this constant stream of units coming in. I don't think anywhere on the line is really involved at all. It's just Canyon. Nightmare heap of units. Q-Tech's coming forward quite far with the Razorback now. Oh, just about took down these two Starlights. We're repairing this one wounded Starlight in this area. Fortunately, the Vanguards weren't microed to their potential. And we weren't able to pick up that Starlight. We see this Starlight, my Starlight here, back off. Damn, gets taken down by our own Wasps. Now we see Bankso's base absolutely open and vulnerable. And these Starlights are moving back and threatening my commander on the other side. Seat of the pants stuff, I tell you. One pawn here manages to get past us again. We're going to run around here and see if we can push forward with the Jaguars. Almost managed to kill this one Starlight. I think that our Starlight might be able to finish it off. No, I was going to get sniped, unfortunately. Oh no, we managed to get it. Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. On 46 hit points, it's alive. This is how close this all is. In anticipation of reclaiming or resurrecting this whole field, I've produced a few Lazarus. I don't know if it's the right call. So we're now moving over to Centurions as we are starting to get leaks. It does look like we're getting run over, but it's more so just the level of pawns is crazy. Starlight's unfortunately able to sneak into our base. Nowhere else is there really any action whatsoever. It's just all in here. We do see air having a fighter battle. Only, it looks like. Testing each other's strength. Maybe some Wasps getting taken down. Poor old Bankso is just up against it. Refuses to build static defences. Finding the Centurions, I should have produced these before. They're such a good unit versus spam. A heap of Jaguars coming through. This might be problematic, actually. Okay, nuclear bomber coming in. It's going to thin them out. We see this steady stream of forces. Backed up by, thank God, a T3, a catapult. I've got my offensive Starlight here. It's coming out swinging and missing. Very brave Starlight. Going to be killed rather quickly, I think. Yeah, sniped, unfortunately. So the plan is I actually am trying to snipe these Starlights, right? A lot harder to do than seems feasible sometimes in a contested arena. And the catapult has been very good. I think it's supposed to be hitting this, but it's just going to hit up here. Yeah, the catapult's really the answer to these Starlights in this situation. Big push from blue. Razor coming around the side. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, I've forgotten my commander here behind the canyon. I just about could take it out. Oh, what a nightmare. We had enough Starlights just in reserve to be able to handle that Razor. Finally, I think we're starting to see the amount of forces we need to see to stop all this. The right counter units, Centurions, we've got catapults, we've got these all-terrain Karganeths. The Starlights just still being annoyingly persistent in their damage. Very good combination. Another Razorback's coming. Finally, we've got some pressure here from the Vanguards on the canyon side. Although it looks like they're getting pushed back on fairly easily. This has been crazy. With us retaining canyon, we do have a slight economical advantage at the moment. It's not much, but it's something. Over here, we're trying to resurrect some of these. Unfortunately, our other team members are greedily coming in and scooping up this whole field for metal. Which, by the way, guys, is only 50% as efficient. So another commenter in one of my comments says, it's annoying when other people scoop up basically what's your field. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily ours, but surely this is Canyon's to resurrect after taking the ass whooping we've taken to be able to defend ourselves. But no. We get it all scooped up by others. But yeah, I had another commenter say we should reclaim their bots. I don't know if it's that possible to reclaim that many Lazarus, but I feel like you should be able to do that if you claim this is your field. Resi, you get 100% of the metal back, right? And we're on such a low economy. That's a massive boost for us. These guys don't care. They don't even need the metal. They're just running on automatic doing this at the moment. They do need the metal, but you know what I'm saying. We need the metal more than they do. We need the units more than they do. Although we've been able to put together a little bit of a defense here, finally. We've got some Jaguars. About 30 Jaguars and Centurions. About 6 Starlights. And we've got our Lazarus. We've also got a Kargareth. So I'm going to come in here and try and apply a little bit of pressure. See what we can do. I do find them a bit of an awkward unit to use. Although their range is 600. I don't know, it doesn't seem like they can properly use it. Crops in the comment says that guy's boosted for sure. Whole lobby is probably. So the Kargareth is going to perhaps take down a Starlight. Took down one. This is left on 7 hit points. Are you joking? It's an awkward damn thing. Razorback in the right position at the right time to defend the 7 hit point Starlight. Of course, not going to repair it. We're trying to sneak closer and closer. Over here we see a new angle of attack from our team. At least distributing the pressure across other fronts now. We see Q-Tex trying to call a resign, feeling like the battle has been lost after the canyon pressure wasn't effective. It almost was. We just held on. I feel like that was Southern's victory for the taking. No, we denied them. Hard stopped them in the canyon. Had 2 opportunities, both in Rainbow and in Canyon, to overrun us. These wicked fortification walls. Quite expensive actually, because these are 40 metal each. Well, I guess they get the job done. I think there's just too many grunts and spam in the end. The static defences aren't in place anymore, and we see them starting to come through. On our side, we're trying to apply pressure slowly as we sort of siege break with our Starlights only. Well, I should have brought a couple of ambassadors. We do see these Vanguards at least from crafting help out. Last second beamers coming in to hold everything back. Titan comes up from anti-canyon. But for whatever reason, that's all too much, and the vote passed. Look, in the end I built 2 reactors, and I maybe had some energy converters up, maybe some T2. So there wasn't a lot of eco going on in that game at all. It was aggression from start to finish. On the awards side, certainly the anti-canyon got the award. Destroying enemy units and defences, had a really good early scale and was just tremendous. I think maybe our canyon wasn't exerting as much pressure as they had to stop anti-canyon for building up that amount of resources. We also see Q-Tex playing an excellent game, fending us all off and pressing, of course, the Rainbow lane early. That was really hard against Q-Tex. Habgear is our MVP, and we can see just cooking over here, our anti-canyon. Had a pretty good economy, particularly by the 40-minute stage with 350 metal a second. You know, definitely won against the enemy team Canyon, done everything they could and helped us out as well. It's just a phenomenal game from Habgear, earning that score in the end. Also, our corner over here had this miracle eco of about 350 metal a second. Was getting a lot of greed in, but that definitely worked out for them at the end. They were able to produce godly amounts of spam. They didn't even have a T3. They're just spamming units and perhaps economy. Look at the amount of spam they have though. Wow. Okay. 22 labs, is it? Like that's crazy all across here. It's a very interesting tactic from Yellow. Canyon, I sort of felt like we done okay for what we had. I only defended ourselves with about 100,000k, where most other players have over 200,000. Pretty par for the course though lately. I tend to not be able to scale as much as I'd like. Damage dealt and damage received, pretty happy with that, especially under the amount of pressure we were all game. But I just want to show that one to you guys because Canyon not falling is really the pivot to your whole team's defense. It opens up such a lane of attack from the enemy air, from the enemy team. We could see our team sort of won Canyon, but it was done slow enough the enemy team could adapt. But it was for that reason I think the morale loss occurred, because there was too many angles they were getting hit from and couldn't defend effectively. Whereas us, we had this fully secured, there was no point further attacking it. And so the only angle of attack really for this team was up through here. Very easy for our team with all these defences to counter, so they were just out of options in the end. I hope you enjoyed this game. Leave a like or subscribe if you enjoy the content, and a comment as well, because I want to keep on improving, like I'm trying to improve my bar gameplay. Thanks very much, and see you next video.